What's up, everybody? It's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and I'm going to go ahead and share my OP8 Blurred Trickster Maya build with you guys. So I figured first things we should go over are why I chose all the skills that I chose. We're going to go ahead and start over here in the Cataclysm tree. This one's the easiest to explain. Basically, our main goal here was picking up Chain Reaction, Reaper, and Ruin. Chain Reaction is obviously the skill that we are kind of using the most with this Blurred Trickster build, which adds 5 skill points here to Chain Reaction so that we get an 80% chance of any bullet we shoot at a phase locked or any enemy that happens to be around while we have another enemy phase locked, and that will reflect on other nearby enemies and increase our DPS by quite a bit. It works really well with weapons like the Pimpernel and other weapons we've included here, and we'll get to those in a minute. The other things we picked up in this particular tree were Foresight, which is going to help us quite a bit with magazine size and reload speed. So I should say in this tree we're mainly picking up Foresight, Chain Reaction, Reaper, and Ruin. Obviously Ruin is for slag and Reaper is for a huge boost to gun damage when the enemies are above 50% health. Immolate should help should we ever go down, and Flicker will increase our chance to cause damage over time effects, which isn't that bad because we are using 1 point in life tap, and then it is boosted another 4 points by our Blurred Trickster comm. And so the damage over time, especially from Pimpernels and other weapons that deal a significant amount of damage over time, will easily keep Maya very healthy as you have life tap active. We picked up Res from this tree on our way down to life tap, so that'll help you a little bit with cooperative play. Obviously, in this tree, we also picked up Mind's Eye for the increase to critical hit damage, and that's really nice. The melee damage doesn't help us at all, really. Sweet Release is going to give us even more survivability than we already have, with Life Tap and the other skills that we have, and I'll get to those in a moment. Wreck is obviously going to increase our DPS by quite a bit while we have an enemy phase locked, and that's going to help out even more with Chain Reaction, so Wreck and Chain Reaction have a lot of synergy with each other, and that makes, Maya very potent when you have an enemy phase locked. From the motion tree, we're going to pick up Ward, which increases our shield and, subsequently our survivability. We're going to go ahead and go with Accelerate. It does add 20% bullet speed, which is a good thing and a bad thing, depending on which weapon you have. However, 20% bullet speed isn't going to radically change the Pimpernel to the point where it is not usable. In fact, I think it helps it a little bit for almost every enemy, in fact. And so that's why I do go with 5 points and Accelerate. It will make using weapons like the Interfacer a little bit more cumbersome, but it's not that big a deal, and it is going to add 15% to gun damage. I put 1 point into Kinetic Reflection so that we have 5 total points when we have the Blurred Trickster class mod on, and that helps us out with reflecting bullets and survivability when we have a kill skill active. Suspension is obviously going to increase the time we have enemies phase locked for 2.5 seconds more, so that gives us 2.5 more seconds to try to get off more chain reaction shots, and that's a very good thing as well. I also have Inertia, which will help counteract damage over time after you've gotten a kill, and it should increase your reload speed by a noticeable amount as well. Obviously, Converge is very important because it pulls all the enemies in very close so that we will be able to get even more use out of Chain Reaction. So let's go ahead and get to the weapons that are going to be included in this save. First and foremost is obviously the Pimpernels. I prefer the Malawan Grip and Banbury Prefix because this will allow you to get more shots off during a phase lock and thus more Chain Reaction. It also is the highest DPS of any of the Pimpernels, and because of that, I like it better than any other combination. We are going to be using the Antagonist as our main shield here because it has a very good survivability aspects to it with Maya. It's got a pretty large capacity. It's obviously got great bullet reflection and a very low recharge rate, or very low recharge delay, I should say, and the recharge rate is actually pretty good, pretty decent. And this shield helps me, survive very easily with Maya while I'm using this build. Also, under shields, we have the Blockade, which is a good shield as well. We have the Sham for when you want to go full bullet invincibility. And we also have a few different flavors of the Bee, because they are very helpful for certain enemies with this build. Class mod wise, I've went ahead and included the Blurred Trickster and Legendary Cat. I think this Chaotic Evil Cleric is actually supposed to be in the bank, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the bank when I get over there in just a second. It's mainly for raid bosses if you want that extra critical hit damage and fire rate. We'll get to the bank items just a little bit later. As far as relics go, I've included Bone of the Ancients relics. I find these to be the most useful because they decrease, the time you have to wait between phase locks by quite a bit, and they give you extra elemental damage as well. Because of that, I think they are the superior relic. I wish there was one for non-elemental damage and explosive damage, but unfortunately there is not. I've included several different grenades in this save, including 2 different longbow slag transfusion grenades, one being the O negative, which I like a little bit less because it has a longer fuse time. However, it does heal more, and it's probably better for co-op, so that's why it's included. Also included is the Stormfront, which is a great grenade with life tap, and it's just an awesome grenade for damaging enemies as well. The Longbow Bouncing Bonnie is a very good slag grenade, and it works great for some raid boss utility. I have the Quasar as well, which is the best singularity grenade and can definitely kill enemies on its own. And I've included the Magic Missile as well, which can be used to, also regenerate your grenades over time in case you're ever really low. So other weapons included in the save are the Becca, which is the Pearlescent Jacobs assault rifle. It's a really good assault rifle, and I enjoy using it a little bit more every day as I learn about it a little bit more and get a little bit better at aiming it and using it. I included the Grog Nozzle just in case you guys need it for certain situations. I thought about leaving it in the bank, but I'm just going to leave it in the backpack. Same thing with the Northleets. I don't use them too often, but I notice a lot of Mayas use them for second winds, and it's definitely a great second wind weapon. Now, there are going to be quite a few shotguns on this save. I am including 3 different elements of the Interfacer, the Butcher, and the Conference Call, so we are going pretty heavy on the Hyperion shotguns here. And that's because they all work really, really well with the build. In fact, the Butcher works even, way better than I thought it was going to be. And I'll have the, video for the Butcher demo out tomorrow as well. The Butcher is a really, really good gun, and it is, way better than I thought it was going to be, like I said. Can't really rave enough about the Butcher right now, but, we need to get on to the other weapons. But I definitely recommend trying out the Butcher with this build. Same thing with the Conference Call. It's not quite as good as the Butcher, but it has better long-range utility, and because of that, I have included it as well. Now, for other shotguns, I have included the Casual Sword Explosion. Caution with this one, though, because you are able to kill yourself. The Twister, which is really great with chain reaction. In fact, all of these shotguns are really good with chain reaction. And the Blockhead, which made a very strong showing as well. There is a very good, unique explosive shotgun, shock-only shotgun, and fire-only shotgun. I would really like for there to be a good corrosive-only shotgun that is a unique item as well. However, there isn't really one of those. It would have been cool to see one. Now, I am going to include Sandhawks because even without the B, they are really good with chain reaction. They're just a top-tier SMG. Obviously, you can use them with the Bs, which are included on this save file, for taking out raid bosses and such. I've also included the longbow because it's a pretty fun weapon to use with chain reaction. So now we're going to head over to the bank and see what other items I've included into the save. I just put some weapons that aren't necessarily worth carrying in your backpack, but are fun to have in the vault in case you ever want to test them out. And that includes the Sawbar, the Ogre, the Maggie, the Thunderball Fist, the Cobra, the Fibber. Some people are real into the Fibber with this build. I find that it's great for taking out Saturn and Bunker and really big enemies, but that it's not really good at all for mobbing. That is my particular take on it, though, and you may find it differently. I've included the Trespasser in case you ever need to pick it up to take off Pete's face shield, and the Lady Fist, which I used to kill Pete once as well. It can kill Pete pretty quickly. Not quite as fast as the Sandhawk, but close. And again, the other Fibber there. A Blood of the Ancients for SMG ammo and max health, and a Stockpile Relic as well as a Jacob's Allegiance Relic. I've also included the Legendary Binder and Legendary Nurse Comms in the bank here, and different shields that you might find useful for certain reasons, such as the Hoplite, the Evolution, and the Rough Rider. The Evolution in particular works great with the Legendary Nurse Comm. Also, comm-wise in this build, I did include the Legendary Cat, which is, really good for SMG damage, and in case you want to switch to that for using the Sandhawk. I couldn't remember the name for it there for just a second. I don't use the Sandhawk too often, but I know it is a very popular Maya weapon, and that's why it is included in the backpack. I do very much recommend that you guys go ahead and create a new character. For example, just create like a level 1 axe to engage, whatever it is, and then save this save file over that save file that you've just created, as to make sure that you don't gain any of my unnecessary bar ranking. Unless you want that, and then maybe, picking up the save will get it for you. However, I do know that if you create a new character and then you save this over that save file, you will not gain any additional or unnecessary bar that way. And I will leave the save linked in the very first line of this description. Like I said, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't yet, please take the time to subscribe. I'd very much appreciate that. I know some of you guys have been waiting on this save a little bit. I was going to do a few more build demos. I've already done the one, or at least recorded it, on the Butcher here, and I will be releasing that very soon. And I'll be testing out just a few other weapons, in the future. I wasn't able to get to all of them, but you guys seem to have wanted this save file now, so I'm going to go ahead and share it with you guys. One more time, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.